Together, the American story and the African American story form that most quintessential of American qualities: hope. What do you hope for? What do you hope to do? Without hope, we would miss the remarkable story of Phyllis Wheatley. By age 19, Phyllis became internationally known as the first African American ever to publish a book of poetry. As a result, you might say, Phyllis Wheatley became, in her day, as famous as Oprah Winfrey is today. Without hope, Benjamin Banneker would never have looked to the stars to study astronomy and write his best-selling almanacs. When Banneker thought Thomas Jefferson needed to see proof that all men and women were capable of great accomplishments, he sent Jefferson a copy of his almanac. Jefferson got the message and sent Banneker's almanac to the Academy of Science in Paris as proof of the American creed that all were created equal.
Who do you hope to be? Perhaps Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said it best. Everything that is done in the world is done by hope.
Have you ever been afraid to do something you've never done before? America was founded as a country, not because its citizens lacked fear, but because they took action despite being afraid. Harriet Jacobs, an enslaved young woman, was afraid. She took action anyway. Often called an American Anne Frank, Harriet stayed in a tiny attic for 7 years until she could escape to freedom, then boldly wrote about it in her autobiography. Harriet Jacobs showed us what courage looks like. The first black freedmen displayed mountains of courage just by voting in an election in 1867, only 2 years after full emancipation. It is this kind of courage that transformed a nation and made America what it is today.
Are you ready to take action? Are you ready to show your courage? As Nelson Mandela once said, I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it.
Do you believe that it's possible to be what you want to be? The belief in achieving new goals, launching new ventures, and setting out for new horizons is as American as apple pie. Speaking of apple pie, Abby Fisher wrote and published the first cookbook by an African American in 1881. In 1870, only 7 years after emancipation, Senator Hiram Rhodes Revels became the first African American to represent Mississippi in the U.S. Senate, and Josiah Walls became the first African American to represent Florida in the House of Representatives. Explorer Matthew Henson believed in conquering new horizons, literally. As a teenager, he joined Robert Peary, explored the Arctic, and eventually became one of the first ever to reach the North Pole.
Do you believe in yourself? You should. Remember what the great thinker W.E.B. Du Bois said. There is, in this world, no such force as the force of a person determined to rise.
The essential ingredient in the American dream is imagination. When no one is looking, what do you dream? What do you imagine? Paul Robeson had an awesome imagination. He was one of America's most famous multitaskers. He was an actor, singer, scholar, activist, lawyer, athlete, magazine publisher, and all-around Renaissance man. Alan Locke became the first African-American Rhodes Scholar in 1907. He wrote The New Negro, a book that launched the Harlem Renaissance, one of the most successful periods in the history of American culture. It gave us artists, musicians, writers, and thinkers that influenced the world and helped prove that in America, greatness comes from all of its citizens.
There's so much you can do and be in your life. How many dreams do you have? As the saying goes, don't tell me the sky's the limit. when there are footprints on the moon.
American heritage isn't just the stuff someone else will think is important. It's whatever you have or discover that tells a story. It's whatever you and your family want to cherish and value. It could be something as simple as an old letter, like the letter to President Roosevelt that was written by Bernard's cousin, Carrie Kinsey. But it could also be as ordinary as a sewing machine, like the sewing machine that's been passed down through generations by Shirley's grandmother, Susie Plummer Pooler.
The Kinsey Collection sheds light on America's history and reminds us that heritage isn't just found in the past, it's also found in our present and in our futures. We create the nation we all hope for, imagine, believe in, and summon the courage to create. The Kinsey Collection reminds us that America's treasure is its heritage. It is a treasure that can be found in the memories and stories of every American family, or in their closet, or under their bed. Turn on the light. Keep reaching. It's there.